all new episode of Celebrity Catwalk. This show is chock full of all kinds of goodies, and we're kicking things off with a very on-trend topic these days. That's right, public relations. We've got two powerhouse ladies with us today who are publicists with their own respective companies. We have Dana K. Humphrey, who's a regular on our show. You know her as the Pet Lady. And then there's Bridget O'Brien, who's a longtime friend and supporter of Celebrity Catwalk. We know you're busy, ladies, and we know you have events to get to later on, so let's get this going. And thank you for making time for us today. I really appreciate it.
It's great.
I'm going to start things off by saying you have to come back. I'm not going to start and do anything until you promise that you're going to come back.
I pinky promise.
Pinky swear.
I swear, I'll be back.
They're coming back. That's because I can't get into all in the nooks and the crannies of everything that my producer wants me to get into. So I'm shifting the blame on them. But now we're not going to stray off the topic of PR today. So Dana, let's get started with you.
Okay.
What were you doing before you became a publicist?
Well, I have a degree in public relations from San Diego State University. Wow. And while I was in university, I was doing PR for a wine company. So I've kind of always been in the PR space, probably more so as a publicist in the last 10 years than before, but always doing something public relations minded.
So you've been around.
Sure.
And how about you, Bridget? How do you juggle all these events, being a mom of two and being the greatest publicist ever?
Oh, well, you're too kind with that. But I have to say that it's not an easy feat to juggle anything, let alone a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. If that were the only thing that I was doing, I would probably have enough going on. But it is difficult, but I try to incorporate, my schedule with my family, with my job, and you kind of have to, there's some nights that I'm up until 5 o'clock in the morning writing press releases or doing work for clients, but it allows me, since I have my own company, to be with my family. So if I have a play in the morning at my daughter's school, then I just don't schedule meetings at that time. But I stayed up all night working. So it's a trade-off, and it is. The word juggle is exactly what you have to do, and I think it's what women do that don't have kids. Like, we're all juggling a million different things.
We're just juggling all over.
Yes.
Scheduling, time management, it's all a part of who we are.
Yes.
And you do it well.
Thank you.
And so do you.
Thank you.
So many people look at public relations as lights, camera, action, fun, red carpets. How do you break down the nuts and bolts of what it takes to be in PR on a day-to-day basis?
Well, in my life, it's not all red carpets, and I do go to a lot of events. There are a lot of fantastic events and people that I get to meet and network with. But it's a lot of hustling on the phone, sending emails, writing letters, trying to come up with interesting topics. It's all about coming up with ideas. So I get my best ideas in the shower and when I go for a run. So
Me too!
That's a very important part of the schedule. So I come home, I write down my ideas, and, the best part of the day is when you get your client a hit. And that's when you get them on a TV show, a radio show, an interview somewhere. That's like really, the best feeling that you can have as a publicist. And the rest of the time, you just kind of grind away, keep working at it.
So for all the aspiring publicists out there, what would you say are some must-have qualities to kind of get in there and just be able to withstand all the pressure? What are some qualities that you would say someone would need to have?
You kind of have to be tenacious. There's going to be...
Dana's laughing.
Yeah, it's true. It's good to have also colleagues that you are on the same page with. Like, Dana and I are very good friends.
I heard. BFFs, right?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
So we, we'll kind of be able to sound off to each other, bump ideas off each other and say, like, this is what's going on and this is how it is. So for aspiring publicists, definitely you have to be tenacious. You have to kind of have a thick skin, because the first time that you make a pitch or you call, or even the 1,000th time, it might not be picked up. So that's really like the number one advice that I would have for young publicists going into this.
And you agree, Dana?
I agree 100%.
Yeah, I'm pretty outgoing the majority of the day, but at 6 o'clock, I am down. I'm done. I don't have any. How do you guys deal with that? How do you get the pick-me-ups in your system?
Coffee.
Lots and lots of coffee.
Lots of coffee. Yes.
I stopped drinking coffee, and that seemed to help as well. Either way, either lots or none. It's like
Dana, is there a particular college major that you would say is a prerequisite to get into PR?
Well, I had the benefit of going studying with Glenn Broom, Dr. Glenn Broom, who's one of the grandfathers of public relations. And he actually was really involved with PRSA, which is the Public Relations Society of America. So I'm still very active in PRSA today. Any university that has a PRSSA program, a Public Relations Student Society of America program, that's definitely a good option because then you can start to learn from people who are in the field, start to go to events. So I would look out for that. And some schools don't have a PR degree. They have a journalism or a communications major. You can try that. I think, but if you know for sure that you want to go directly into PR, you might want to look for a school that has that type of program.
Let's talk about managing expectations. So I imagine this scenario happens pretty often. People want to hire a publicist, right? And they want to get right onto Good Morning America, just like that. How do you manage how your clients perceive what PR is? How do you get them, okay, this is not how it works, I need to work with you a little bit more? How do you convey that message to them?
I think that is one of the biggest challenges of doing PR is the management of expectations. Like that's even more difficult sometimes than pitching a story to a New York Times or a big paper. It's really the biggest thing because your client, they're so into what they're doing or what they're passionate about that it sometimes is difficult to say, you're just starting out, we're doing, pitches to blogs and things like that, and they don't want to hear anything else other than, I want to be on Good Morning America, or I want this. And it is very difficult. You have to show them growth and how there's a starting point and how the starting point gets you to the next point and to the next point.
And on to Good Morning America.
Yes, and on to Good Morning America.
So what do they come up to you and say, hi Bridget, can you get me on the biggest morning program there is? Is that generally what it sounds like?
Pretty much, yes. I think a lot of times they'll say, I think that I would be great on Good Morning America, or I'd be great on Wendy Williams, and it's might not even be the kind of client that would be going on these shows, but they're just not really in tune with PR, and that's actually your job. Your job is that you're their consultant and that you guide them through and kind of educate them. A lot of people, they know that they need PR and they need help with their marketing, but they don't exactly know what it is. So it's kind of educating them in terms of, before you even start working with them, educating them what you're doing and what you can do for them.
We've had a policy for a long time that there's no O word. We don't talk about the O word. Luckily, she's gone off the air.
What's the O word? Or is it the O name?
The O name. Yeah, I mean, for a long time, everyone wants to be on Oprah. Oprah. Because if you get on Oprah, and she has a dog, and she likes this, and she likes cancer, and it's like, she has an entire warehouse of stuff that people have sent her. Like, yep, we can get you the address, and let's move on, because there's so many different media outlets where we can target and get in front of your target audience, but it might not be Good Morning America Today show and Oprah tomorrow. We have gotten clients on Good Morning America. I've been on the Today Show. That doesn't mean that any publicist or any PR person can ever promise that to any client ever.
No guarantees.
And if anyone ever does, you shouldn't be working with them, because
red flag.
Yeah,
right.
Red flag, exactly. Because that's just not how it works. If you have an idea and you pitch it at the right time on the right day, and they're looking for a story about the newest bagel, boom, you're in. And if they're not, you're not.
Right.
And timing is everything, and managing expectations is huge. I mean, also a lot of times people are mixing up marketing and advertising and public relations even within that. So I always try to say to my clients, that marketing is the overall umbrella. And within that we have advertising, which you pay for, and you have public relations, which is earned media. So it's editorial coverage or editorial features. So we're looking for stories. So we're really in the favor business. We have to make friends and keep them, and ask these different editors and reporters for a favor to work in our client somehow into the story.
Tell me a story about a nightmare client. No names. But what is a nightmare client like? Well, either one, doesn't matter.
I think it goes back to the management of expectations. I had a client once who was booked on national programming.
Wow.
And he got a lot of coverage for a book he had written. And it just, as soon as we got back from the media tour, it was, I think I really should be on. And it was, you know, a big time day national talk show that he really thought he should be on. And it was like the big win that we just had kind of at that point just kind of was like, oh, it wasn't a win. It was a great win for me that we just did this great like national stuff. And then, you know, he wasn't that happy with that. He
deflated.
wanted, right. So it was the management of expectations, but some people, they just can never be happy. So also PR is a lot of like managing personalities because we have to deal with so many different people, not just our clients, that we need to be able to work with other personalities and be able to manage personalities. I mean, we're talking about management here. It's manage personalities and how to respond, kind of.
Can we add people person to that list of expectations and qualities that you should have in order to be a PR?
Yes.
How about you, Dana? Nightmare client?
Well, you know, I've had interesting situations where, you know, I'll show up to a trade show and we have, you know, secured a media tour where every hour on the hour we have a blogger, a radio host, a TV show, a magazine, you know, editor showing up for media appointments for the whole trade show, and we've sent them the list. We've done, everything's done, and then we'll show up to their booth and they think that we like are getting them buyers or something, or they think, they're like, so where's one of the buyers coming? And I'm like, I have no idea. Can you ask your sales team? Like,
whose job is that? That's not mine.
So yeah, it always somehow is back to managing expectations and, you know, starting to learn also from the beginning, you know, usually during that first call that you have with them to even consider maybe working with them, you can usually start to tell like what their expectations are going to be. And so I've started to say no to more people that, you know, their expectations are just, I can tell from the very beginning that they're the kind of person nothing's ever going to be good enough for them. So it's kind of like learning, you know, who's going to be nice people to work with, right? Or when you get them a big win, they feel, you know, when we're more excited than they are, like that's a problem. You know, I'm like, we just got you in, you know, Inventor's Digest. And they're like, what's that? What's the circulation? We don't want to do it. I'm like, you know, that's the type of it's more of an attitude, right? If they have an attitude of gratitude, we want to work with them.
Got it.
Yeah.
Let's talk social media for a second. So we all are familiar with Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and a lot of people seem to have become their own publicist. Some of them very good, and some of them not so successful. But how about the people who have the freedom to craft their own message and to put it out there? Has that made your job easier? Has it made your job tougher, or just kind of different?
I'd have to say that in some ways it's made the job a lot easier because it's easier to reach like a multitude of people as opposed to before it was more that you were with luck meeting people or reaching people. So I'd have to say in ways of reaching a larger audience, yes. However, it also, in terms of, like you said, the client who is on social media and, you know, they're putting out their message and people do not exactly know appropriate things to put out there for their brand, or, you know, they're hiring a publicist for branding. So you might have a specific message that you have crafted and it's been hours and hours of coming up with this branding and how it's going to go out, and a client or someone that's doing their social media can ruin like months and months of work in one tweet, sending out the wrong message. So it's something also that it has to be very very monitored, and it has to go with what, you know, your brand is and what your plan is.
I agree completely, and you know, just to add on that, I think, you know, people that have the wherewithal and the know-how to do their own social media and to do their own public relations, go ahead. You know, that's fantastic. It's more, I think, an issue, when someone steps in when maybe they don't have the know-how. So, you know, it's definitely something that people can do on their own, you know, if they know how to do it right. Just like getting your hair done or your makeup done, right? Some people can do that really well themselves, and that's fantastic. But it's just not always the case, and it's not as simple as just tweeting every day. Like, that's not the same as having a strategic public relations plan that has social media as an extension of that. So, there's some differences there, but I encourage people to try to do their own, and then usually they'll end up coming to us anyway.
Because you're the best, of course. Thank you, Dana, and thank you, Bridget, for stopping by today. Looking forward to having you back. We pinky swore, remember? You have to come back. So remind us before we get out of here, how can viewers connect with you?
You can find me on Twitter at Dana K. Humphrey, or on Instagram, also at Dana K. Humphrey.
And Bridget?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Bridget O'Brien PR.
Thank you, ladies.
Thanks.
Nobody move. We'll be right back with another Pawtastic guest. Now this is quite a treat. We've got some incredible ladies here with us today, and they've all been here before, so they should look familiar to you. They're all involved in numerous charities and civic organizations, but today, they have put their money where their mouth is and have helped defray some of the many costs associated with producing 3 days worth of events, which is Paws in the City weekend. We have Stephanie Matera now. Stephanie, you look familiar.
Maybe. You might have seen me here on the set of Celebrity Catwalk.
Now, we know you're a part of Celebrity Catwalk and all that, but for those who don't know, you're a spokesperson for the Mayor's Alliance of New York City's Animals.
Yes, I'm the spokeswoman for the Alliance for New York City's Animals, and we are a coalition of 150 plus rescues and shelters in the greater New York City area, striving to end euthanasia and also help all the animals find homes. So we partner with Animal Care Centers of New York, which is the city contracted shelters. And then what we do is through collaboration, we pull animals into these rescues and shelters, and that helps us find homes and make space for animals that come in.
Wow, incredible. How did you get involved in being a spokesperson?
It's just a passion. Since I was a child, I grew up in a house full of rescued pets, and they were really family members. And my parents always stopped on the side of the road if they saw a turtle, a bird, a cat, a dog. We always helped.
Wow.
And when you're a kid and you see that, it sets an example of how you need to live your life. And so I've just always been that way. Fast forward, studying in New York, doing my master's degree at New York University in PR and communication, just finished it, started volunteering with the Alliance, and they saw something in me, and it was just, luck and preparation, right? It's like when preparation and opportunity meet, and it's been a blessing for 6 years to be able to do that for animals. So
That's incredible, Stephanie. What would you say is the biggest misconception about shelter and rescue animals?
I think there's a lot of misconceptions, and they're all wrong. So
This is true.
one is that all the animals are, have behavioral issues, or they're sick, or they're old, and that's not true. Most of the animals that come into shelters come in by no fault of their own. It's a family pet, someone loses their home, a layoff, someone goes into assisted living, and these are really the primary reasons animals are in the shelter. So I like to tell people there are amazing pets looking for a new home. Senior pets are wonderful as well. They acclimate very quickly. They also are fully developed into their personality. They don't have as much energy as the kittens and puppies, but we also do have kittens and puppies. So whether you want a young animal, an older animal, or purebred, 25% of the animals in shelters are purebreds, and people don't know that. So there's no reason to go to a breeder. There's no reason to buy a dog when you could save a life and you could find the breed that you're looking for.
Wow, thank you, Stephanie. And right next to Stephanie, we have Miss Summer Strand.
Hola.
Hello, Summer. You're not only a Celebrity Catwalk supporter, but as a fitness professional, why don't you tell us, do you include pups in your fitness regimen?
I do something that I named called Get Pet Fit with Summer.
Get Pet Fit with Summer.
Yes, and I started that predominantly with a small pet in mind, because if you have a big dog, normally you're going to walk your dog no matter what. A lot of my friends, a lot of people in the community, we have smaller dogs, and sometimes the smaller dogs and ourselves, our tushes get a little wider than we like, or we don't really get to move around as much as, what's healthy for our heart. So I developed an exercise program where you can learn to bond better with your dog. You can, or, cooperative cat, bunny, but usually it's dogs. But it is any animal that's kind of 15 pounds and under. You know, most of them are 4, 6. Depends. Sometimes they used to be 4, now they're 6. But it's all about kind of getting our glutes back up to our shoulder blades and the animal to be very alert to commands, and you bond even more. So for me, it's been a great development to see how people kind of get more into things when their pet is allowed to be a part of it.
Yeah.
It really makes a big difference.
So not only do you promote important nutrition for yourself, but also for your pups as well. What's a typical day like preparing a meal plan for your pup?
Well, my dogs eat very well. And I don't expect everyone to cook for their dogs every day. What I do is I cook up organic chicken or turkey or meat. As long as it's ethically treated, it's okay. I need to know that they had a good life and the energy in the meat is not, you know, that of pain and suffering. It makes a huge difference. I prefer organic, but as long as it's hormone-free, antibiotic-free, it's okay. And the same with the vegetables. I prefer organic, but as long as it has pesticide-free and it doesn't have GMO in it, then we're A-okay. And everyone gets a little bit different food, but I cook up the meat, usually for the week, and then I cook fresh vegetables every day. So one of my dogs get carrots and coconut shreds and the meat and maybe some probiotic. It depends what they need kind of that week, that month. I try to follow that. So I think that there's a misconception that dry dog food is the only thing a dog should eat. Real food is always best for everybody. That's how you pull your nutrients out. You know, anything that's dried and baked and then cooked or cooked and then baked is overly processed, and it's not really, it makes it hard for the body to pull the nutrients that it needs. Your body will adhere, and your body will kind of figure a way around things. Like you see dogs that have been incredibly neglected, and then given the proper tools, they rebuild completely, and you can't even see that it's the same dog. It's the kind of same thing with humans. Over time, we want to make sure that we eat as well as possible, maybe like an 80-20. You can still have a piece of chocolate a day if that's your vice, or you know,
yes, chocolate.
or half a glass of wine, or anything like that. But if you try to just kind of stay on a narrower but healthier path, it's going to benefit you. So the same thing for your dog. So if it's hard for you to cook for your dog every day and you're always looking for that good dog food, first of all, it can get kind of pricey when you buy really high-end dog food that's supposed to have everything that organic food for us has. So why not take a little portion away for your dogs out of your food? It doesn't make that big of a financial difference compared to like buying something that's really expensive and made especially for dogs. It's fun and it's good to have options, but I find that my dogs have done incredibly well on a homemade diet.
Thank you so much, Summer.
My pleasure.
One final fabulous celebrity catwalk guest we have here with us, Grace Forster. Welcome, Grace.
Nice to be here, thank you.
You're an active supporter in the New Rochelle Humane Society. What drew you to them?
Well, first of all, New Rochelle is my hometown. So I've grown up knowing about this wonderful Humane Society that does such wonderful things for rescues and just care of animals and sheltering them, finding them homes, adoption. In 2011, they had a centennial gala, and I was one of the honorees. So I really felt I had to step up. And after that, I was on the gala committees. Subsequently, I've done a lot of going to their events, supporting all their fundraising events. Also, they have a thrift shop, so I try to donate not only to the Humane Society, but the thrift shop. And sometimes I take the car and take the girls, and we go up there and say hello to our friends and drop off supplies and whatever we feel that is needed. I will add that last year they changed the name from New Rochelle Humane Society to the Humane Society of Westchester in New Rochelle to reflect the fact that they cover officially sheltering animals for 19 communities in Westchester, in southern Westchester County. So that was it really was a good thing to change the name. So it's recognized how far-reaching the Humane Society has come. And now, I mean, 2011 was the centennial, so you see they've been around a long time.
A long time.
Yes.
You're also active with Bidui?
Bidui, yes.
Bidui?
Yes, well.
Tell us about that.
I had heard of Bidui, but it wasn't until they did public service announcement, PSAs, during my reality series called Doggy Moms. And I decided to look into it a little bit further. I got to know the president, who was a wonderful woman by the name of Nancy Taylor. She retired last year. And I went to visit the facilities. Very, very impressive.
Yes.
And then, speaking of exercising, there was a monthly Doga class. So I was taking...
Doga?
Yes.
Doga.
And for a small charitable contribution, we were doing monthly Doga. And that was, fantastic. And I got to know the people there. And I started going to the galas. And it's just a wonderful opportunity to mingle with like people, and very upscale and lots of fun. And this year, they asked me if I would they invited me to become an honorary member of the gala committee. And I said, of course I would. So, and it's Monday, May 23rd, at the same location as last year, the Hotel Pierre in New York City.
Honorary chairs for the Humane Society. You're going to galas, and then you're involved in Doga. What's your favorite part of all of this?
Well, I have to admit, I do love dressing up, and I do love dressing my dog up, and it's sort of a win-win situation when you go to these galas, and some of them are a little bit pricey, but you feel like you're just having a great time. You're socializing with people that you really want to socialize with and get to know, and be involved in the dog community. And of course, it's also a very fundraising, money-making venture for the organization. So it's really a win-win. So I like that.
Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Summer. And thank you, Stephanie, for being here today.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for having us.
Hope to see you at the Paws in the City weekend.
Oh, you will, absolutely.
We
We
should
can't wait.
We should all meet
Yes.
for Doga.
With your
All
drinks.
meet- Yeah.
That's right.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much.
See you next time on another episode of Celebrity Catwalk.